Hey guys, welcome back to my channel Data Tutorials. So in this video, we are going to see the Power BI scenario-based interview questions, which may be asked for you in your upcoming interviews. So this is very much important for those guys who are having an experience of 7 to 8 years, and also important for those guys who are having an experience like 6 months or 1 years. Okay, those who are freshers, they can also watch. They will get then some idea of how to use the DAX functions in different scenarios. So before starting, I request you, please subscribe my channel so you can see many people watch, but they do not subscribe. So it will give me a motivation to, make more such videos. And it is free for you. So you just have to click on that particular subscribe button. And please like this video as well. Share it to your friends if you are liking my content, whichever I am uploading on YouTube. Right. So let's start with our first scenario. And in the first scenario, our interviewer is asking us use the sales data table and find the top 5 total sales by product using DAX function. Okay. And create a KPI card showing the total sales. So what we have to do is we have to create an KPI card where it will be showing top 5 total sum of sales. Okay. And he want us to create a DAX function. He do not want us to create any filter for this. Okay, so we will have to create it by using a DAX function, and we have to show it by a KPI card where it will show the top 5 sum of sales product. Okay. So now to do that, obviously we have to write a DAX function. But before that, we will have to connect our Power BI to our sales data. So for that, what we have to do, I will go in a home tab and we have to get data, and we are going to use an Excel file over here, and I have a Excel data over here that is sales data. I will add this particular data link in description box from where you can go ahead and download it for you. So I will be using a sales data for here, and I will just click on load. So it will take some time to load, and then we can start our scenario 1. Okay, so now we can see the data has been loaded over here. This is the data which we are going to use. Now first thing what we have to create is a DAX function. Now to find out the total sales, okay, with respect to that, we have to find out top 5 sales first. Okay. So first that what we will create the total sales measure first. Okay. Which will be a simple sum of sales only. So I will just increase the size so it will be visible properly for you. So total sales. Okay. I will be using a total sales, and here I will be using just sum of sales. Okay, so we are just finding the sum of sales over here, and I will just hit enter. Okay, so this is what a complete sales of all the products which we are having into our data. So out of that, we just want top 5 sales now. So now to do that, we will create one more measure where it will be giving us the top 5 total sales. Okay, so just right click again and create one more measure over here, and we will name it as top n. Okay, why I'm writing top n? Because let's say your interviewer is asking you to find out top 10, top 5, top 15. Okay, so it will be helpful for you. We will be seeing with different numbers like top 10, top 5, likewise. Okay, so first we have to find out the top n, and we are going to make use of different DAX functions over here. And first, what we will be using here is calculate function. Okay, so I will use a calculate, which is a mostly used expression. Okay, to use or to calculate some aggregation functions or get an aggregated value, we use the calculate function. Okay, so in first argument in calculate, it is asking us what is the expression we are going to use. Expression is nothing but we have to give some summarized measure value, and we have to find out the total sales. So we have already created a summarized total sales over here, so this will be our expression, comma, it is asking us the filter. Now filter, what we want is we want top n. Okay, so what we are going to use, we have an inbuilt function in Power BI that is top n. So we are going to use the filter where we want to filter our context for top n only. I will open the bracket. Now which value? Okay, top value. So it is asking us which value we have to calculate. So we have to calculate top 5. Okay, so this will be our first argument. Then second is, okay, so it is asking us which particular column we have to find it for. Okay, so we are going to use a values function over here, and by using a values, we are asking us for which particular column. We have to calculate it for product name. Okay, we have to find out bit by product name. So I will be using this. I will close the bracket, comma. Okay, so now in top n, the third argument is order by. Okay, so we have to order it by which particular measure. Okay, so here you can see here it is asking us expression, order by expression, which expression we have wanted by total sales. So we will take a total sales again here, comma, and the last expression it is order. We have to order it by ascending or descending. See, if you are ordering it in ascending order, it means what? The total sales are been ordered in ascending order. Like the least sale will be at the top and the maximum sale will be at the bottom, and then it will give us the top five. So in that case, it will we will not get top five, we'll get the bottom five. So we want it in descending order. So to do it in descending order, what we have to do is I will just select this. So we have descending order means what? Your total sales will be we can say arranged in such a way that it will be in descending order. That is from maximum to minimum, and then from that we will find out the top end. So I'll just close this bracket and one more bracket to close the calculate function. Okay, and I will just hit end. All right. So now our value has been created. I will close this and I will take a KPI card over here. So this will be our KPI card, and I will just drag this particular top end into this particular KPI card. So you can see 153.39 is the top end. Top end is nothing but we have got top 5 because we have entered here top 5. You can see in this particular expression, I have added the top 5, and this is nothing but the top 5 sales. But we want to verify if our, this particular value is correct. So we will do it by traditional way. So I will just take one more KPI card over here, and what I will do, I will take total sales. Okay, so we can see this total sales are total sales of all the products whatever we have in our data. And we are using the traditional way. What we will do, I will take a product. We just want to verify if our value is correct or not. I will take a product and I will add into it to in filter, and instead of basic I will use a top end filter over here, and we want top 5, and it is asking us by what value we want. We want it by total sales. Okay, and I will just apply field. So you can see if we are finding it by traditional way, that is top 5 sales, it is giving us the value. And if we are finding it by using DAX function, we are getting the same value. Okay, but the requirement for our, what we can say, our interview scenario was to find out with respect to DAX function. So now let's say if you want to find out it for top 10 values, so we just have to change the number over here, that is top 10, and I will hit enter. You can see the value have been changed, and let's verify if our value is correct or not. So we will go in these filters and we will enter here top 10. So you can see we are getting the 244.62k. So this will be in the such a way that it is giving us the verified results. We have verified it in both the way, that is by using a long way by adding a filters each and every time and changing its value, and this is what by using a DAX function. So in this way we have used here, you can see we have used here calculate function. It takes first expression as an measure or an expression, that is we have to enter here sum of sales, but total sales is nothing but we have entered it as a value as sum of sales. Then we are using a one more function, that is top n, and then top n is nothing but it is asking what should be which top, that is top 10 value or top 5 value. Then we are using a one more function values, and we are using it from which product, which column name we want. Okay, we want by product name, so we have taken this. The next it is we want the top 10 for which expression, so we want it for sales, and comma it should be in descending order so that we are getting the top. If you are entering your ascending order, we will get bottom, right? Because it will be sorting our that particular column from ascending order. So descending order, it gives us a sorting from maximum to minimum, and in that we are getting our top 10 sum of sales. Okay, so this was your first scenario. I hope you have understood. So this is the most task scenario, and in that case, like you cannot only calculate top n by using this particular DAX. You can also use rank function, you can also use rank x function. So it depends upon your approach, and many people use different approaches to find out top n by using different DAX. So it depends upon you which you want to use, and you will get the same results, and you can verify by using this particular traditional way. I hope you have understood. So let's move ahead to our second scenario. And in our second scenario, our interviewer is asking us to create a calendar table, connect to sales table, then create a line chart for monthly trend for sales, and highlight the maximum and minimum points on that particular line chart. So we have to do three things or three to four things here. First is to create the calendar table, which is also an interview questions which may be asked for you in an Power BI interview. You have to share your screen and then you have to do perform how you are creating a calendar table. Then you have to create a model, that is nothing but you have to create it or you have to connect it to your sales table. Then you have to perform or create a line chart for, to find out the monthly trend of our sales, highlight the maximum and the minimum points. Okay, so now in this particular scenario it will be somewhat long because there are 4 to 5 things where you will have to do in this particular scenario. And if you are able to solve this scenario, or I can say your interview will be very much impressed, and there are high chances of getting selection in this particular interview. Okay, so now watch carefully. So first what we have to do is we have to create a calendar table. So first what I will do, I will go into our data view. Okay, and when you go to our data view, you have a table tools over here, and there is an option called create a new table. So I will just click on this. You have to create a new table. I will name it as calendar. Okay, so I will name it as an calendar table. And here what you have to do, you have to create a calendar. So for create a calendar date table, we have a calendar function. Okay, so this is a calendar function which we will be using. So this is the calendar function, and you have to create a calendar based on our data, that is sales data, whichever we have in our data. Okay, so for that, what we have to do is we have to give, whenever I open the brackets, what, so you can see we want 2 arguments here, start date and end date. So we will pick the start date from our original sales data only, and start date is nothing but the minimum or the smallest date whichever is present into our sales data. So for that I will use min function. Okay, and min function is nothing but we will be using it by using order date. So order date is the date which is available in our sales data, comma, the last one is end date. End date is nothing but the latest or the maximum date which is available in our sales data. So for that, I will use a max function, and we will take it from our order date. So I will close the bracket and close the bracket for calendar, and I will just hit enter. So as soon as I hit enter, you can see the dates have been, they have been generated over here. And when I take at the bottom, you can see the last or the latest date is 30th of December 2023. So if you go into our report for the second table, that is sales table, so whatever order date you are having over here, so the maximum date which we are having here is 2023, or we can see it is December 2023. You can see 31st of December 2023. You have to just find it out somewhere. Okay, it is there, but it is 31st of December 2023 is the maximum date which we are having. Okay, and the same we have created it by using a calendar table. All right, so now we have just derived it from our sales data. Right, now next what we will do, we will just quickly create some columns over here. So from that year we will extract the year, we'll extract the month, and we will extract the month number as well. So I will just create a new column over here, and I will name it as year. Okay, just name it as year. So to find out a year from here, we can just add year function. Okay, year, and we have to find it from date, and date is nothing but this particular date. Okay, you can see the calendar date over here. And I will just close this. So it is extracting the year from this particular date. So I will create one more column over here, click on new column, and here we will determine the month. Okay, so want to determine the name of month. Okay, so if you are using a month function, it will give you the month number, but we want to create a month here. So what we'll do, I will create a month. So I will use a format function over here. So first we are using format, and it is asking us the value. So which value we want to format? So we want to format our date. Okay, so we want to format our date column. And what should be the format? So I will put in double inverted commas 4 times M. Okay, because we want the full name of month. And as soon as I hit enter, you can see. So we have also created a month column over here. So we have created a calendar table, and we have created the two new columns which will be used to create our monthly trend over here. The next thing what we have to do is, the next ask in our what we can say by our interviewer is connect the sales table. Okay, so connect this particular calendar table to our sales table. So for that we have to go in model view, and here you can see we have created a calendar table, but it is of no use until and unless we connect it to our sales data. Okay, to make use of this calendar table. So now here you can see this calendar table has been created from the order date. So what we have to do here is we have to connect our this table to this. So what we have to do, we have to connect this order date to this date. So we will just drag this order date and we will place it over this particular date. So you can see a relationship has been formed over here, and when I hover over my mouse here, you can see these are the two fields which we are going to use, and it has been creating a one to many relationships. It means what? One date into this particular. So here you will have an each and every row you will have a unique date. So that particular unique date. So let's say 1st of January we'll have multiple 1st of January in this particular date sales data, because there may be order placed on 1st of January. 10 to 15 orders may be placed, and 10 to 15 sales data has been created over here. So that is why it is having one to many relationship. So after creating a relationship, we will go to our report view. The next we have to create is a line chart. So I will just click on the line chart over here. I will increase this. And now I will be using, or I will make use of this calendar month which I have created. Okay, so we have to use this month, and we want it by respect to total sales. Okay. So you can see we are getting this particular total sales over here. So what I will do next, I will just sort it by using, instead of total sales, I will sort it by month. So the sorting has been done. So we will not see what how it is sorting from January to December or all this thing. We just want what we have to highlight this maximum and minimum points on this particular line chart. Okay. So for now, what I will do, I will go in format visuals, and then I will turn on the data labels for this. Okay. So by looking at this particular line chart, you can see that 0.35 is the maximum sales and 0.06 million is the minimum sales. But we just want to highlight these two particular points. What I will do, I will just go here again. I will select this, and I will turn on the markers as well. So I will just turn on the markers. So these are the markers which has been applied over here. Now we have to find out the maximum and the minimum sales, right? So now to do that, we have to create a DAX measure over here. So first I will just right click, and I will create a new measure, and I will name it as max point. Okay, so this will be our max point measure, and we have to create what we can say what we will be using a different DAX functions over here. So first I will be using a maxx function. So max function will give you only one argument from where you can take a max value, but maxx function will give you help you to it will allow us to add one more argument, which will be a column name or a table name. I will open a bracket, and it will allow us to take one more argument for which particular table or that particular column you are finding that max value. So we want to find it for month. So we will select that month, and from that we will take a max value for which expression. So first argument in max function is select your table. So for that I will use one more function, that is all selected. Now what all selected does is, all selected function, or it works in such a way that whatever filters are applied at expression level, it will neglect those filters, but it will have those filters like it will be considering the filters of let's say like the slicer filters, whichever we are operating, it will be not affected, or it will be affected. All selected will be affected by that particular slicer filter and interactive filters, but it will be neglecting the what we can say, it will be neglecting the expression level filters which we have. So first what we have to find it for month. So we want to find it for calendar month. I will close this, and second function or second expression we want, for which particular expression we want to find max value. So we want to find it for total sales, and I will close this bracket. Okay. So now this will give you the maximum value, but we have to compare it with total sales. Okay. So this will give you the maximum of total sales, but we want to highlight it. So to highlight it, we have to use a logical test over here. So for using a logical test, I will be use if function. I will open the bracket. Okay. So first logical test is this. Okay. If this particular value which we are getting, if it is equal to the total sales. Okay. So if this particular max value is equal to total sales, then we want true result. Okay. If it is true, then we want the same value to be retrieved. Okay. If it is true, if it is equal to total sales, get the same value to be displayed, comma, if it is false, if the result is false, if it is not equal to the total sales, what we will do, we want nothing to be displayed. Nothing means what? We want blank. Okay. So we'll use a blank function over here. So if it is nothing, it will be blank, and I will close this bracket and I will hit enter. Okay. So we have created a max point, and now what I will do, I'll bring that into our visualization. So select this, select the max point, and bring it over to in the visualization. You can see the max point is highlighted over here. You can see 0.35, 0.35. But what we want only highlight to be maximum point. So all other labels, what we have to do, we have to turn it off. So what we will do, we'll go into our format visuals, go to data labels. Okay, expand it, And for total sales, whatever you can see here, you can turn off this show total levels. You have to turn on, and whatever maximum point you can see, it is 0.35. Okay, so we have got the maximum point. You can see the color is also different. You can give different colors. So formatting part I will leave up to you. Now next part, what we have to do, we have to find the minimum point as well. So we can use the same max point function. Instead of max, we'll be using a min-x. Okay, so I will just copy this and I will create a new measure. Okay, and I will just paste this. So instead of max, we want here min point. Okay, and instead of max function, what we'll be using here, min x function. Okay, so we'll be using a min x function. Similarly, here also we'll be using a min x function. And you just hit enter. Okay, close this and bring this minimum point under the this particular table. So you can see here the minimum point is also displayed over here. So in this way, you have to highlight the maximum and minimum points. Although there are different ways from where you can use different DAX functions to highlight this. You can use some variables, and you can use also like different maxx functions with different values, or you can use calculate function, values function. You can use all function instead of all selected. So there are multiple ways. So this is the best way from which you can find out. And okay, so in by using this particular scenario, you have learned 2 to 3 things. First is how to create a calendar table. Second is how to connect it with respect to our data model. And third one is how to find out the maximum and the minimum points. So by using this scenario, you have learned 3 things. And if you are solving this scenario, your interviewer will be very much sure that yeah, you have a deep knowledge of Power BI, and there are great chances for you to get, or we can say, to be selected into that particular interview. Okay, so this was our second scenario. We will move ahead to our third scenario. So in this particular third scenario, your interviewer is asking you create a KPI card that will show the total sales in last 6 months. So very straightforward question. Whatever data you're having, let's say you are having a data for 3 years. Okay, so for that 3 years, whichever is the latest year, from that latest year you have to find out the last 6 months years. Okay, so right now, let's say right now I am in what we can say in July month. So I want to go back from July backward 6 months, and you have to find out that particular 6 month sales. And you have to, here he's asking us to create a KPI card for it. Okay, okay, he don't want you to show it in the form of line chart or anything. He want us to create a KPI card for that. So always remember, whenever you are to find out the total sales for last 6 months, a date table is important. Okay, so you have to create a calendar table over here. As we have already created here and we have made a relationship for that, then we can use different, what we can say, time intelligence functions can be used to find out the last 6 months sales. Okay, so always remember, if you want to find out year to date, prior year to date, last 6 month sales, last quarter sales, last 2 quarter sales, or last 7 days sales, remember to create a date table, make a relationship with our main table, and then you can go ahead and use your time intelligence functions to this. And Power BI recommend to create a what we can say date table to solve these types of questions. All right. So now we will go ahead and use our DAX function directly. So I will just right click over here and I will create a new measure, and let me name it as last 6 month sales. Okay. So we have to find out last 6 month sales. So obviously we have to use a calculate function. So first is expression. So expression is nothing but for which measure you have to find it the total sales, or we can say the that particular last 6 months. Okay, so we are using a total sales because we want to find out the total sales. Next is the filter. So we have to filter our data in such a way that we just want last 6 months sales. So we will be using a function here called dates in period. Okay, means what, this will give you the start date and interval of between what we can say start date and end date. Okay, so dates in period will be using the first date, which will be our calendar date. Okay, so we will be retrieving it from calendar date, the date table which we have created. We will be using that table. So what should be your start date? Okay, so from which date you have to start, and you have to go back and create your 6 months sales. So always remember, start date will be your latest date of your data, whichever you are having in your what we can say table. So to do that, to get our latest date, what we will be use, we'll use one more function, that is last date function. Okay, so what last date will or it will give us is last date will give us which is the latest or last date available into our data. So last date of which date? We will be using a calendar date. Okay, that is nothing but calendar date. So from this particular date, we have to take the last date, comma, and what should be the number of intervals. Now we are back in dates in period function. So it is asking us what should be the number of intervals. So we have to go back 6 months. So we have to go back means what? We have to add -6 over here. Okay, you are adding +6, you will go front +6. Okay, you will go ahead of +6. So we have to go back. So we'll add -6, and you want it for last 6 months. So we will select a month over here. If you are want it for last 6 days, it will give us last 6 days. If you want it for a month, it will give you for a month. Okay, so I'll just select month. I will close it. For this is for date sprint period and this is for calculate, and I will just hit enter. Okay, now I will create a KPI card over here. So KPI card, and we will use a last 6 month sales to show this. Okay, so this will be your last 6 month sales. Okay, so in this way we have created last 6 months. If you want last 8 months, instead of -6, you will add -8. If you want last 12 months, you will use -12. Or if you want last 2 months, you will use -2. So in this way, we have created a last 6 month sales. And if you want to verify this, so I will just create one more KPI card over here, and I will take total sales. Okay. So if you are taking total sales, this is the total sales which we have into our data. Okay, so this is the total sales. And now for to calculate the total sales here, what we will do, we'll just go over here, just so we'll add some filters over here. So I will select the first is year filter. So I will just add a year filter, and instead of basing, I will use basic filtering. We want it for 2023. So remember, we have a data for 2023 full year. From January to December, we are having a data into our database set. So it will be taking the last 6 months sale from December. Okay, so we will go from December 6 month back. So it is nothing but from July to December we are getting the this particular sales. Okay. If you want from today, you have to use a today function into our sales. But we want last 6 months. Okay. So the latest 6 months what we are getting, we are using that particular function. So we are in 2023 and we have one more filter over here, that is a month. Okay, so we want it from July. Okay, July, August, we want December as well, October, November, and we want September as well. So that is this. So this one. Okay, so you can see if I select it by our traditional way, that is by using adding filters which are not dynamic. Okay, so this is the dynamic sales. When we go to the next month, it will neglect that particular July month, and it will be starting from August to January. Okay, but this is a static filter which we have applied. I have just used this to show if our value we are getting a matching value or not. Okay, so I hope you have understood this. In this way, we are showing this last 6 months sales. All right. So I hope you have understood these three scenarios, and these are very, very much important, mostly asked. And by using these three scenarios, you can answer 5 to 6 scenario-based question if you understand this better. Okay. So if you are asked for last 8 months, you can use the same logic to find out these last 6 days. If you are using instead of month, you have to just add days. If you want to show for last quarter, you can use quarter function over there. Okay, you have to just modify your DAX in such a way that how you want the output to be displayed over here. Okay, so I hope you have understood everything. I will see you in the next scenario based video. Till then, happy learning.